Hi Jason. Tom Gaze here. All right, today, welcome to Growth Intentions, your personal and philosophical way to improve yourself so that your business can grow. Today, I want to dial in our conversation. We talked a lot about flow the past couple times we've been together. I want to translate that. Oh, my perfect person is here, Daniel Andrews. We're going to talk about focus today and what that means for your brand and your business. And really, really, I want to hear where you're struggling with focus. And typically, I feel as though, and I want input from you, I feel as though it means you're saying yes to too many things because you don't want to miss out. Like, oh, I don't want to miss out on that person's thing or that person's thing or that person's thing. Pretty soon you have 100 people that you're not missing out on their things and you're not getting any of your work done. How many of us has that happened to? Okay. So, Judy, where do you struggle with this?
I would be better off if I were discerning before I even signed up for stuff. But I like to try things. I like to see, you never know if something is going to be just the perfect thing. So what I have to do is, in a pretty short period of time, go back, review the calendar, try the things and then take them off so that they're not there going forward, because I've got to have the space that I need for the business.
Could there be some boundaries in place of that you try one new event per week?
Yeah, that would be a good idea, to actually have a number on stuff, as opposed to, oh, that sounds good, or oh, I want to do that, or those are fun people, or
yeah. That's the only thing that worked for me, was deciding that I have time to do 2 networking groups a week and 1 extracurricular event. So a stranger, a community member, oh, that looks interesting. And if there's already one on the calendar, it's a no. Unless it takes the place of that other one. If I haven't committed, then I'm willing to, change places with something. But once I say yes to something, I'm not changing my mind and replacing it with something else.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. As long as you don't say fully yes until you've had a chance to taste it, and figure out, if that's where you need to be. But, just to get a bit of perspective, when networking was an adjunct to my job, meaning I had a career in other spaces, I did put $1 and an hour limit per month, right? I had a budget for dollars, and because some of them, particularly in bigger cities, right, there's a cost to the room, or it's a dinner meeting with 30 people, or $30, and all the right people, it's worth it. But anyway, I had to put a time out of money budget on it. And my first the belief, the action that served me when I became a professional introducer was, to put really no limits on either one of those, right? It was the full-time thing, right? And now, it's reached the point that there's not enough room at the margin for me to do all the new things, particularly now that I've gone to digital communities and connecting well in digital spaces. And particularly considering that I'm meeting more of the people I want to meet in digital spaces than I am locally, right? Because like begets like, right? The Jason Crofts of the world introduced me to the, Jason Van Ordens of the world, introduced me to the Judy Kings of the world, right? And then eventually when you get to the pinnacle, you meet Tom Gay, and then, life's over, right? You're good. So, but anyway, I've had to go back to putting a time and a budget on the new things. And that includes coaching programs, right? When I first launched, Ninja, I had a lot of people that leaned into Ninja, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to lean into your program too. Let's do this. And I'm like, I can't handle that many coaching inputs at one time, right? There's literally not space for it, right? The brain can't handle it. you know, so I'm trying to be way more, and it's a long, slow learn, right? But I think the one thing preaches it. The default has to be no. And then when you think about it, then you can come back to yes. But the first words out of your mouth have to be no.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the hardest things when you are a connector and you're connected to a lot of people. People expect us to say yes when really it doesn't serve our businesses to say yes. I wish I had another one of me that I could just send to stuff.
Well, and I'm fortunate to have a friend who has known me long enough and whose philosophies align with mine enough, and who can be bought. I don't want to say cheaply, but he can be bought at a cost-effective rate. So occasionally I'm on LinkedIn going, "That's a genius comment." I'm like, "Oh, it's been posted under my name. I should get like." I'm like, "This is amazing." Right. So I'm like, man, I'm good. I am so witty.
Nice. So witty. Nice. Well, now there's AI that can do that for you, but then I don't know if somebody does that kind of interaction for you. What happens if somebody messages you, "Hey, Daniel, thanks so much for your comment," and you're like, "Oh, shit."
Oh, I'll get back to it quickly enough.
Okay. All right.
I suspect if that happens, I can count on him to screen cap the witty comment, right, and come back around. But
all right, Jason, what's your sticky spot about staying focused?
I think macro wise, slapping myself to, not do all the things that come after you have a clearly defined offer in place. This is what I do. You can show up and answer that, what you want to dig in and build long term, because this stuff right here, my shows, any marketing effort, so a lot of stuff that a lot of people hate to do once, just to go get themselves out. That's the fun stuff for me. So,
Yeah.
So John, I know you talk about that a lot, like going doing the fun stuff instead of the work stuff, And for me, it's been that anchored in, like, no, this is exactly what you do. Here's your offer, and even just this last month, I've really slapped myself in the face and stopped myself from doing a lot of these initiatives that are marketing and get my, name out there and everything, until this core basic thing that you have no business doing anything else until it's done thing is taken care of. So,
well, I think you, like me, you envision things you want to work on and that you want to be doing, but then actually doing them, it's that implementation piece that feels, I don't know, there's something I want to do that's super attractive and super fun, but I know it's going to be distracting for like 30 days. I'm going to have to invest. And there's no money generated from it until completion. Do I really want to do that right now going into summer? The answer had to be no.
Right. Or just, to put it, you definitely can't drop everything and make it a little piece that works on, because maybe there is a long-term benefit. But yeah, it's so tough not to just dive in, and like you said, to say no, because sometimes you can't do the little incremental, because your nature. I know like I'm going to
I don't do that.
go full in, or yeah.
I don't do well with that. And I think now that I know that, I am not work on a project for 10 minutes a day for 90-day type of person. I'm not. I want to sit down, do it, finish it, whatever. Right. And I think you have to look inside of yourself and examine yourself to figure that out. Am I capable of interacting in 10 different networking groups and building quality relationships? Probably not. Am I capable of taking on 20 projects at a time and doing 10 minutes a day until they're all done? Absolutely not. So that knowledge can fuel your focus if you're willing to really look at yourself.
Right. I mean, and so John made a good point, right? Some people get off on chaos, right? I mean, I know a little bit where mine came from, and I might have echoed this in either this room or a room with a lot of the same people in it. So I'll give you the briefest version. But when I was a young child, in my mind, marks of adulthood was to have appointments, right? I remember buying calendars, early, like middle school early, right? I mean, and what's your schedule when you're a kid? Go to school every day, right? And in the summer, don't do shit every day, right? But I treat it like a journal. But the idea of having a book, and writing in when my classes were in college. And so I think a full calendar, to me says two things. One, I'm an adult, and you would think by now I'd be like, I'm tired of this shit, right? But anyway, and the other is, fuels the need that people want to meet with me, right? Some of you know the story of the wound I suffered at age 17 when I hosted an Afro-prom party at the lake with food, with skis, no parents, just a chaperone, and nobody showed, right? So to this day, I'm still, chasing after the please come to my party, right? Even if it's just you and me, right? Right. So that's my reflection, right? But when I don't keep my word to other people, that feels like shit. And so I'm starting to do better at putting boundaries, right? I squelch the number of days I'm available for what I call quick connects, which are the things that generate most of my prospects, but most of my to-do activities, right? Follow-up activities. I've actually blocked it for all of June. So nobody can, if you don't already know me, you're not going to see me until July.
Nice.
And it's just the way it is. So that's helpful. I got to see how that feels. Now, does that mean by the time July rolls around, I'm booked through October? I don't know, but we'll see. I'm in a challenging spot at the moment because I do work. I get more done in moments when I have uninterrupted blocks, right? Time blocking, very important concept. It's hard to do when you've got, multiple meetings, which is part of what I do, partly self-inflicted, part of the nature of my work. But when I don't have to reprioritize minute by minute, right? When there's 6 things on my desk and I don't have to look at the calendar, see what's coming up in 30 minutes, decide which of the one of the 6 or 2 is going to happen first. I can just do the thing on top and do the thing next and then do the thing next. I get way more done. I was up at 3 a.m. this morning, measured even pace, got more done than probably any 6 or 8 hours between 3 and 6 a.m., right? Just now, am I going to crash this afternoon? Probably. Normally, Saturdays are really good for that. Right now, Saturdays are committed driving. Saturday, Friday night or Saturday, 7 hours to Virginia.
Did you wake up because you had stuff to do, or did you wake up?
I did not set an alarm. I woke up, and what I've learned is don't look at your phone. Actually, when I did pick up my phone at 4:30, I went and set all the features to prevent other people from hacking my phone and to not have anything other than messaging and podcasts between hours of 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. That's it. Can't do anything. I mean, I can disable it, but it's too many steps. It's easier to throw the phone in the car. So I didn't fall back asleep in about 10 minutes. And I know from experience that I will not. So I got up. I didn't drink coffee because I thought if I need to lay back down, I will. But I'm going to start to do things until I need to go back to bed. I did not set the alarm for 3. I'm very sure that my brain woke me up at 3 because I've got stuff to do. I won't be home until 9 o'clock tonight. I got to leave here whatever hour I wake up in the morning to spend 24 hours in Virginia and then come home again. So I'm sure my brain was like, yep, let's get going. Well, but in those moments, the 3 a.m. moments, the Saturday afternoon moments, it just, the rate at which I get stuff done because I'm not reprioritizing in real time what's going to happen.
Well, what's the takeaway there?
Go to bed at 7:30 and get up at 3. And
either that or have that time in your calendar that you actually honor from 7 till 11 or whatever block.
I'm really struggling with what that looks like. I really am. I would love to. I could conceivably. Yep. Okay. So, John, I'm sorry. Oh, you're just saying that's what it looks like for you, right? No, you have some input. I'm sorry. I ran too long.
No, hire me and I'll make sure you don't fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah, but you just said earlier, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for 6 straight weeks. That's not accessible in my world. It's not. Until we get mom moved down here, it's not accessible. So I want to honor your commitment to who you need to work with. Anyway, yes. And again, I struggle with what that looks like because some of the places and commitments I have are in the morning, nothing before 8, but I've got to be places, but maybe 10 to 12, right? Maybe 10 to 12 is it.
Yeah.
Maybe I do wake up at 7 and roll out the door at 7:30 and be at the 8 o'clock thing, and without a care in the world in the morning except being showered with my teeth brushed. And then 10 to 12 is plan the next 24 hours, eat a healthy breakfast, kiss my wife. I don't know. Maybe that's it. That's the plan.
Well, it's an amazing rule if you have an 8 o'clock appointment to not do anything before that, to not turn on electronics before that, to not think you're going to get work done before that, and to schedule it afterwards. My days don't start now till 10, except for my mandatory engagement in Sujad's community that has to happen before 9 a.m. And I typically am doing that on the go. But that ability to do that is a luxury that I've gotten to after 15 years of doing it.
And I am building towards a model that looks like that, right? It's my commitments to the I mean, given that networking is my job, my commitment to the local spaces, and for them it's either evening or morning, right? Means that not doing anything until 10 a.m. is not an option at the moment. But I am hoping to either close down. I'm hoping to sell, hand off my local environments. Worst case, I'll close them down at the end of my contract in a few years.
Okay.
But I'd like to hand them off to somebody else for a couple reasons. One, I'd like for the value to still be accessible to the community. Number two, I'd like a revenue stream, right? I don't even want to sell it to them, Judy. I'll just say, look, give me a trailing revenue stream. As the years go by, mine goes down. Thirdly, I refuse to leave this town with B&I thinking they kicked my ass, because fuck that.
All right.
Pardon my language. Because that's the message they'll send, that we drove them out of town. Trust me, they're toxic in this town. It's freaking weird.
It's weird here too. All right, Tom, how about you? Where do you struggle staying focused, my friend? You're on mute.
Probably a good thing, because I've been making comments to Sujad and Daniel both.
Well, that's why we ignored you, because we didn't hear you.
Okay, probably a good thing. Anyhow, I've been through an epiphany. Okay.
Do tell.
Do tell. I've spent my career building companies and building an organization as the companies deserve that. And I learned long ago that I fly at 50,000 feet. And I've been down at 5,000 feet and challenged by it. It absolutely drags me to the ground when I get down to 5,000 feet. Okay. My last company with 5 million subscribers, almost 5, I had 40 people. And it was a beautiful organization. I'm really good at building companies. But when I took the product of that which we delivered and teamed up with a weak partner, everything fell back on my shoulders because I do it really well until I stop doing it really well. Okay. Until I get fed up with it. And then it gets coupled to something else that becomes a new priority, and all of these things start to bog me down. So I started a change about 60 days ago. First thing I did is remove my Calendly link from all of my customary communications. Second thing was block my calendar off into chunks that only I can intrude on. I am a 5 a.m. starter, and I work at 5 a.m. because that's the time I get my daily updates from my technology team in the Philippines. So that's the end of their workday. And I cut out, leave my office at 3 p.m. or 3:30 every day because I've had a 11-hour day at that point. And I go and rest because back at 5:30, I'm back getting them launched again in the Philippines. And that only goes for a couple of hours because my family time is really important to me. But nevertheless, that cycle has cleared a little of my confusion up, but it's also helped illustrate that there are things that I've been doing to sort of make, let's say, Engage Pro better, and then build a great coaching program that I've delivered to hundreds and hundreds of people. And I come to realize I don't like delivering it. I don't like delivering it. And the world's changed in the last 10 years since I was doing this for some of the largest franchising firms in the world and creating value. And today, everybody's a coach and everybody's out there doing this stuff. And I don't like doing it anymore because, I've got things I like better. So I've been filtering myself out of those things. And
How
moving.
does that feel?
How does it feel?
Yeah.
Hopeful.
Hopeful.
Yep. Better. I mean, I'm a problem solver. Okay. If I can find a problem that more than one person has, then it needs a system. And you may even have a company if enough people have that problem and your system is effective. And that's where Engage Pro came from. That's where Refer.com came from. That's where chat bridges come from. And so today I'm in the phase, if you will, of shutting those things that slow me down off and focusing on the things that I can scale and bring a solution to multiple people efficiently. Used to teach the principle of what's called operating leverage. I don't know if you all have a construct in your background, but in my background, operating leverage means the cost of solving that problem for the second person or the 7,000th person is marginally less than the cost of what it took to solve it for the first person. When you build those kinds of tools, your income goes up with each one incrementally because the variable cost is small and you're spreading your fixed costs over 7,000 as opposed to one. That's what Engage Pro is. That's what ChatBridge does. And that is the opportunity that I'm phasing out of other things to focus on those things.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things I have to shut the damn things off because I have to give up one set of accommodating behaviors for the things that I like to do and that I'm very good at. And so that's where I'm not struggling. I just want to get there. Damn it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the impatience factor that you possess. I possess it as well. Being so focused on the destination that we forget to enjoy where we're at and what we're doing. I think you're taking the steps to do that, which is amazing. But I think one of the important things to remember, if you don't enjoy doing it, why are you doing it? Sajad messaged me earlier this week. He was at a meeting and it was just a text message that was like, why do I do this to myself? Why am I here? This is so boring. And I said, that's why I'm not there. My eyes were bleeding last time, right? And we had a good little laugh about that, about my eyes bleeding. And I think that's a really powerful reminder. All of us are smart enough in this room to turn any shitty event or, engagement into something if we really wanted to. But if you're not getting joy and fulfillment and having fun doing it, does it really make sense for it to be on the calendar?
Well, it doesn't. I mean, that answer is clear.
Yeah.
But coming to the awareness, it's sort of like you've been frog that's been put in the water. It doesn't know the temperature's been turned up on that stove, and all of a sudden it's boiled away.
Yeah.
So I need to recognize time not to be the frog, be the person with his hand on the switch on the stove, and control which burners get turned on.
Yeah.
And that's a stretched analogy. Ah,
No, but it's good self-awareness, right? The fish in the fish bowl doesn't know it's in water until you take it out.
exactly. And I've been posting some nuanced messages for you, but behind them all, it's like, oh crap, I got suckered in by myself.
No.
Let's get, I've got visions of building a company with, another million people using the product.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know how to do that.
So why do anything else?
Somebody put the frog in the water and turned it.
Okay.
I can give you a detailed answer to that question, because there is a detailed answer. I got suckered in by a bad partner who said, let's do this together. And then all of a sudden he went sideways, sat in the sidelines, and all of a sudden I'm doing all the crap he should have been doing. And, that's my fault.
No? Well, at least you're willing to look at that. Right?
Oh, hey, I can certainly look at that easily.
Yeah. All right,
And learn.
Suzanne, how about you? Any struggles with staying focused?
No. But I have 9 thoughts because you let everybody else go first.
Nine. Okay.
So you let everybody else go first.
Well,
So
because
then I
I
was
know
thinking-
you're uber focused, so this is awesome.
Well, I think that no, I have things I'm changing, and I think that when that's one of the major things you teach, then you're hyper aware of that thing.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I see so many other people screwing up constantly that it's constantly on my mind not to do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I see their schedule, which is over 10 years now. Focus. So I had this hot white chick ask me like 10 days ago, what do I need to add to my business and what do I need to get rid of?
She sounds awesome.
It's sophisticated in the front and sexy in the back. You gotta flip it. But anyways, so what did I need to add and what I need to get rid of? And so what works best for me is when I just do 100% what I do, how I do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And when I participate in other people's things and do things their way, it does not go well for me. And it never has. A lot of times for people that I respect, they'll give me advice, my sister, my friend Kristen, and I try what other people tell me to do, and then it never works for me because it's not how I do things. So it just doesn't work. When I do it my way, Polarizing is now the 3rd biggest networking on Earth, networking event on Earth, with over 50 people the last 6 weeks, 7, 8 multimillionaires, and I've done it 100% how I wanted to do it, and it's worked. And every week, 15 people tell me how I should do it different. So getting rid of everybody else's stuff and doing things my way. So I'm doing the event with you, Suzanne, Brilliant Beast. I'm doing Polarizing Networking. I'm doing the Intellectual and the Outlaw with Larry Paul. And I'm doing a thing called the Sex Show with Tamiza on sex, sexuality, faux pas issues, and gender roles. So we're gonna do that once a month. It's gonna be like that 1990s show with Dr. Drew.
Mm-hmm. Love that.
Teenagers called in about their herpes.
Yeah, that was so great.
But it's going to be a more sophisticated version of that. So I'm refocusing. I'm not doing anybody else's stuff anymore for the most part. I like Carolyn a lot, so I've been going to Grand Connections, but I mean, they talked for 10 minutes about making friends. That's a waste of my time. I don't want to be your friend. I want to make money. So, ROI, that's week 2, ROI, CAC. Activity does not equal productivity. So look back the last 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, and stay consistent for 90 days. Create a quantifiable goal, a financial goal of what you want to make, and what are the 5 ways you're going to get to that goal. And do not hop around.
Yes.
Don't jump around, because I don't believe in know, like, and trust. I believe in trust, and people have to see you consistently. And I know that like super feminazis that don't like me, when they see me be the same way every week for 3 months or 2 months, they start commenting and reacting to all my content because they understand that I'm consistent. They trust me because I'm not changing anywhere I go. It's the same shit. I had a girl I flew in from New York last year, and I said, "Why would you fly to my house? You don't even know me." She said, "I've seen you all over the place, and you never change anything that you say." So consistency. So you hop around, you're not known by those people. And, the rule of 8 touches, the rule of 12 touches, whatever rule you want to bring up,
Yeah.
people have to see you consistently. So I do 90 days, and that's what I train my clients on as well. And then I don't do a lot of analyzing, as you all know. I throw shit against the wall and see what sticks. And a lot of what I do fails. But some of what I do works out really, really well. Like, what's his name from Shark Tank? Mark Cuban. He says you only got to be right once, right? So I can be wrong 1,000,000 times, but as long as I do one thing that hits, that's enough to make a lot of money. But I look back on 90 days, and I only look at where does my money come from. So my clients, they love analyzing, so I allow them 1 hour a week on Saturday or Sunday to look at how did their calendar get filled up, what percentage of people came from what networking events. For me, I don't even do that. I only they look at qualified leads. I have a chart for them because they love doing this stuff. People love analyzing, right? So I give you all the tools you need to analyze. You get 1 hour a week to do it. I only do it every 90 days, and the only thing I look at is where have my clients come from and what percentage of clients came from where. Refocusing. I'm going to do a deal with Tom, except he wants me to explain why I'm worth money, so I'm just dressing like him to try to impress him first.
You got a lot to do.
And then check out what my shirt says. My mom said, "Why is the guy climbing the ladder?" I'm like, "I don't know. He likes ladders, Mom." But doing a deal with Tom, doing a deal with Todd. So doing my own networking groups, the 4 I talked about, Polarizing, Brilliant Beast, The Sex Show, and Intellectual and the Outlaw. I'm going to stop attending other people's networking stuff because my stuff goes better, or things I'm involved with where I have a say. So that's refocusing of my energy.
And you know what I like about this? And I'm right there with you on this. And this is a really good message. When you have your own event, whether it's once a month or once a week, it becomes a value add, a massive value thing that you can invite people to. And it makes you stand out in today's marketplace because there's not a lot of people who can actually do that.
I'm reconfiguring my work months. So I'm going to be working from February to November, February 1st to November 1st, December, November, December, January, I'm going to be out at my mountain. And so last year when I was out at my mountain, I was trying to work and I was flying in girls from around the world. So I wasn't having a lot of fun. Well, I was having fun with the girls, but not as much fun as I could have been having if I was just having fun with girls. And so I'm going to work 8 hours a week. I'm going to do my networking events and I'm going to do my coaching sessions and be available for my clients, which is on average 4 hours a week per client. I only work with up to 5 people per 6 weeks. So I'm going to just set my business up differently. Like people, when they're in my program, they end up blocking out not only hours, but like several people have mentioned, blocking out days. Like on these days, I do admin. On these days, I do pitch meetings on these days. I do on each day you do a different thing, right? And Saturday, Sunday are good for batching, analyzing the shit you can't do Monday through Friday. But I'm batching my months now. So because I did a bad job of having fun and I did a bad job of working on my business, which is why this year
You weren't focused on one or the other for blocks of time.
I was half-assing both, and it was less than half-assing both because I wasn't having fun. And I think I need this too. I think I need, like a teacher needs summer vacation away from the kids. With the type of work I do and the intensity of the work and the energy I put into everybody that I work with, I think I need to get my energy, my spirit back up. And it doesn't mean I can't meet with my clients, because I had 3 clients last fall and that was fine. It was that I was still trying to attend networking events. And anyways, I'm gonna recalibrate not only my hours or days, but my months. So November, December, January, I'm gonna run my networking groups that I'm a part of, work with my clients, and then that's it. The rest of the time will just be driving my ATV on my mountain. I'm starting a thing. This came from Larry in the past week, Larry Call, productivity and accountability pods. So it's going to be, Daniel, you're paying attention. Okay, just checking. I'm talking. It's very important.
I know.
Accountability and productivity. We're doing an event on focus right now. Just FYI. Channel heads up. So I'm going to do accountability and productivity pods. So it's going to be 10 pods of 10 people, and it's only going to be $200 a month. So I turned down more than half the people that want to hire me because, and Suzanne and I are talking about this today and last night, I think it's a lack of integrity to allow people to hire you that are not going to succeed. I respect what Daniel said to me. I prefer people just to be honest with me. If you're not going to do it, just tell me you're not going to do it. That's fine. I'm not mad. I'd rather you do that than tell me you're 100% in and then you won't follow what I teach. So it's going to be once a week for 1 hour, $200. So on 10 people, that's $2,000 a month. I already have 2 contractors set up to teach, former clients of mine. So I pay them $100 an hour, so that's $400 a month. So it's $1,600 per pod. So on 10 pods, I'm making $16,000 a month. And Larry Call gave me this idea because there's other people that are frauds that are doing stuff like this, and my shit is legit. My program works really, really well, and the work I do works really, really well. And so that's $16,000 a month in passive income, passive and residual income, and it's legitimate work. Showing people. I put the link in the chat, the 4-minute video on how I teach scheduling, and then we're gonna do. I'm gonna create a dashboard and gamify it, right? So how many days did you work? How many hours did you work? How many hours were money-making activities? How many networking events? How many people did you pitch? How many podcasts? How many social media posts? That looks like prostitution. I don't know what I meant by that. Income. I don't know what the fuck that word is. How many meetings made and how many meetings missed? But like, we're just going to look at exactly what everybody's doing. Because the reason why people make so much more money when they hire me is because I focus them on making money, doing money-making activities. So that'll be $200 a month. So that's $16,000 a month for me. So that's okay. I'm refocusing on. And then, yeah. Oh, no, the last thing is, and I think this is the most important thing, so pay attention, is having integrity with yourself. So once you miss a day of school, you'll miss more days of school. Once you don't work out for a day, you're not going to work out the next day. So if you allow yourself to chase shiny objects, to chase squirrels, to go down rabbit holes, to reprioritize, if you allow yourself to go off schedule, you will continue to do that. And that's about being your own boss. So you got an employee named Mike, you're paying Mike $200,000 a year. At the end of the day, Mike comes to you and you say, how'd you do today, Mike? You had 12 things to do. And he said, well, I did pretty good. I changed 5 of them. Right? What would you say to your employee? So holding strictly to your schedule, keeping That's the only way to be your own boss, and getting out of the chaos, because people get off on this chaos. People love chaos.
Yeah.
'Cause you get dopamine, serotonin. You're running all over the place and you feel really fucking important. But that's not the freest way to exist, and it's not the most productive way to exist. So holding yourself strictly, having integrity with yourself, I think is a major part of focus.
Well, I think part of that, which I'd love to explore a little bit, is the idea that the overscheduling, the putting out fires, the not treating your business like a CEO, more like a, just a frantic mess, actually does have some sort of chemical reward in your brain. You feel busy, you look busy, you get to say I'm busy, but really that busy isn't generating income. I was guilty of that for years. And I think that busy piece feels like you're doing something important, but that's not part of having a business. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs miss that piece. That's why I say I don't work 12 hours a day, because I don't want to be that busy. That's my choice. But when I started, I did. I did do that. I did do all of those things, sometimes correctly and sometimes not. But figuring out what is actually making you money is super important for your focus. We'll use a networking group that I was in, actually, where I met Charlie. And that's the great thing that came out of that networking group for 18 months. But I stayed and stayed and stayed and stayed. Never got an introduction, never got a referral. I was leading the meetings twice a month because I was good at it. And finally, I just said, I'm missing time with my family. It's 2 nights a month from 6 to 8 o'clock. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? For it was ego, 110%. I felt important. I felt seen, but it had no dollar value for me. And so at that point, it's dinner with my family and homework and a dog walk was more important than allowing my ego to be served by that. So
the number one thing I've seen, the dumbest thing I've seen, is women, because most of my clients are women, going to women's networking groups. And I'll ask them what happened. Like, one of them fucking told me they discussed what princess you would be.
I would be none of them.
And so I say, so we look at, week 2 is looking back at your last 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, year, what have you been doing with all your time and money? Week 3 is strategy. And good one, Nathan. And yeah, like, not doing, I've done this before too, where I love certain people in certain groups, like I just like them, and then does that make me money or not? I'm quitting a couple of these now.
Yeah.
Because I love the people, I'm friends with the people that run them even, and not making any money going there. So it's getting out of your feelings. I put it in the chat. Getting out of your feelings and making your decision based on numbers.
People have a very hard time with that.
So, Judy, I have a question for you about an all women's networking group. What is the purpose of leaving men out?
I don't know. It wasn't my decision. It didn't start that way, but I think it was more to, it's a Celeste group, virtual networkers. It's where I met Laura. Yeah. And I think it's more just as a support for women, because some of the people feel like there's not equal opportunity out there for some of the stuff. So I don't know, but it's a good group. I get business there. I've made good connections with it. I've got good relationships with them. There's a lot of trust. I've been with them for years. It's whenever I've gone back and looked, the first 3 years, I think a third of my business came from that group.
Wow. So it has a good ROI for you. That makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
still show up.
Yeah. And we've never talked about princesses. Never.
Never
I
talked.
promise.
So it's real business owners, right?
It's real business owners, yes.
Yeah. Anything else to say about, I don't know if there's any male only. I know a couple of coaches who work with men who do have groups of men, but it's more centered around the coach's like program. It's not networking per se. That's curious to me how women do that.
There's I'm sorry. Go ahead, Daniel.
I was just saying, there's one in this town that's been in existence for 50 years, and it's literally a fraternity. If you're not a guy, you can't join.
Yeah, there's Metal International, which is the highest end people I've ever met in my entire life, and that's men only. And it's like the head of marketing for Uber, the COO of Airbnb. Is those guys. It's every Saturday for 4 hours, and it's like 5,000 a year to join. But it's and then there's the men's group where they try to help you grow a vagina and find your feelings or whatever. Lots of people have told me to go to those.
Yeah, that would be like to be a bug on the wall for that.
I've probably hurt a lot of those men's feelings. Just admit that you're gay already.
No. Like some men want to be in touch with their feelings and their emotions and become a better partner for their wives.
Jesus.
You could just say it's not for you, but it is for some people.
Yeah, lames. They're not getting the girls I'm getting.
Well, that might be true.
But I got mine to stay.
I don't want them to stay. Mine stayed 24 years old.
Oh.
You notice that's true.
We're going to be talking to him
when.
Did you hear about Al Pacino having another baby at 83?
Whoa.
He'll be like 100 for graduation. Like what?
Yep.
I probably get to go to private school though.
Probably. So
who did that?
Let's pull it into we have 10 minutes left, and I want to get a plan for you or from you or a commitment to what you're going to do as far as your focus. What is that? What are you willing to let go of? What are you willing to look at? And what change will that make in your business? I'll go first to kind of model what this looks like. I am willing to let go of a weekly meeting that I have had for 4 years every Monday, and it no longer serves me. I have surpassed everyone in the group, and they are not willing to come along as far as where I've ended up in my business. So that I'm not getting accountability because they don't know where I'm at. I'm not receiving any introductions or referrals. There's no potential for me to have clients out of that group because they already see me as their friend and their peer. So I'm just gonna politely remove myself from that, and I'm not replacing that hour with anything else. I will now be done work at 3:00 on Mondays instead of 4.
I think
you're gonna love that, Suzanne. I did that about 60 days ago with a group I had hosted every Monday morning at 8 a.m. for years, and came to the conclusion that I was serving people who simply wanted to receive or get, and I was getting 0 in return.
Yeah.
So you're going to be rewarded enormously by repurposing that time. So good job.
Thank you.
Tom, you can't say zero. We met through that. I turned you on to lots of great people.
Yes, yes, you did, and I appreciate you in so many ways. Thank you.
And I got clients out of that group. I